Yeah, let's go with it.
Okay, you're welcome. And good morning. So, we're going to start off in a child's pose this morning. Now, if you would like, you can use the blocks. So you can have them out in front for a little extension if you don't have any blocks. So you don't use them, hands can be on the floor. But it will give us a little more opening across the shoulders this morning as we're going to work into that. So palms come down, lengthening out, and then just let the head come down towards the floor. So you're taking this active, nice child's pose. You can sink your hips down, keeping your arms nice and straight, and reaching out into the fingers. And then settling into the shape, just starting to notice the quality of your breath this morning. And especially when we land into the practice, trying not to change or force anything from the breath. Just becoming aware of the natural rhythms. Drawing in through the nose, if that's available, and the exhalation out through the nose. And what's beautiful about starting a child's pose is we start to experience the breath going to the back of the body or the back ribs. Maybe drawing your attention to the breath, breathing into the ribs, the back of your ribs, as you continue to lengthen out through the hands. And once the breath starts to settle, you're a little more connected to the natural rhythm. Begin to extend your exhalation. Can you make it longer than your inhalation? And it may be that this natural restriction comes into the back of the throat as you find that control, and more like your Ujjayi breath. Again, without rush, try and find patience with lengthening the breath. We use this nice, expansive, long breath to really draw into center, or the central line of the body, the midline. Focus coming from here, taking 2 more full breaths. And after that second exhalation, halfway lift. Coming off of your blocks, walk your hands over towards the right side. So walk yourself out, take your hips back. And then taking a side body stretch. As you reach long, it may be that you like to bring your right hand down beside your right knee, press into the floor a little more, and feel that length come into your left side. So you're still reaching out through the left hand, and the left hip may be sinking down towards the left buttock. Be mindful of how that is on your back and not going too far. And then halfway lift, crossing over if you've got your blocks, just maneuvering past them, come over towards the left side, extend out through that right arm. Maybe your left hand comes down, press into the floor and lengthen the side body. And here you might notice that the breath then can be opening out into the side ribs. Just imagining using the breath as a tool to actually create more space, especially when it's early in the morning. To open out, take 1 more breath to the side. And then walking through center. It's time lifting up, find your tabletop position. You can slide the blocks out to the side if you're using them. Spreading your fingers, bring your knees underneath your hips, and start to move through cat-cow. And I invite you this morning to just close down your eyes. Feel that connection of the hands into the floor. So you feel that nice grounding and then the movement through your spine. And as you close your eyes, you start to notice every which way your breath wants to move and flow. Becoming aware of any areas that feel light and open, and maybe any areas that are holding a little more tension. Spending time there, you might add in kind of movement to the side or shifting forward over your wrists. Anything that starts to rinse out. Or finding neutral spine. Turn your hands around this time, so fingertips are facing towards the knees. I like a little draw back if that's within your flexibility to just sink into the forearms here. Otherwise, a few more rounds of cat-cow from here. And stretching out the wrists, and as it's colder weather at the moment, Spending a little time on the wrist can be quite helpful before a Vinyasa practice. Beautiful. And then neutral spine again. Bring the hands out so they're forward. Turn the hands out towards the sides so your fingers are facing away, wrists facing towards each other, and bring the hands a little bit wider. And then just start this action rocking from side to side. Kind of leaning over. Keep an activation through the shoulders and a drawing in of your belly as you sink side to side, pressing down evenly through the hands. And then let your weight so it goes past the line of the wrist here. Again, just warming up, activating. Beautiful, back through neutral spine. Arms can plant, tuck your toes for a moment, sink back. Give your hands a little shake out, release all of that. Your toe squat as well, so you're opening out through the feet. And then you may like to interlace the fingers and extend all the way up. Open up. Then reach for the sides of the body. Try and take out any arch that you've got in the back. Exhale, hands come down. Walking forward, spread the fingers, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And your first down dog, start to pedal it out, moving through the feet, the legs, moving the heels. Spreading those fingers though, find the connection. So it's index, knuckle and thumb, that works, pressing down into the floor. And you think about this Hastabandha or the hand lock into the mat, really holding and stabilizing you here, and starting to find a little more activation. And again, as it's cold, we're going to bring some activity into the arms. So if you look at your elbows for a moment, bend the elbows out to the side, like you're taking a little down dog push-up, and then push the floor away. Take a few like that, just bending and pressing away, and try and keep your head in line with your arms as you do this. Your knees can bend if you need to, if the hamstrings in the back are quite tight. And then on this next one, we're going to bend the arms out to the side, and then imagine you're trying to squeeze your elbows in underneath you, like you're lowering them into dolphin. Pause with your elbows off the ground, and then press back up to straight. It's what we call our turbo dog. So bending out to the side, hug the elbows in, hovering the forearms off the floor, and then press the floor away. And taking two more like that. So bending elbows out to the side, hug them in, hover off the ground, press the floor away. One more out to the side, hug the elbows in, push the floor away. And ideally you find a little more heat through the arms. And now rising onto your toes, gaze forward, little steps, to come to the top of the mat. Bend your knees deeply for our first forward fold, anything you need, maybe your blocks. Pass the elbows, hang forward. And then notice the engagement through your feet and your legs. So if you think about you're trying to pull your feet apart without actually moving your feet. And then imagine you're trying to squeeze your feet together without moving your feet. And then find the balance of those two actions. Right? It's going to then find connection pressing down through the index, the ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe, center of the heel, and an activation through the arches of the feet. Keep that nice and active. Release your arms. Press through your feet and start to curl all the way up to stand. And I would say keep the bend of the knees as you roll. Shoulders back, arms reach up. Palms come together, lift the chest if it's there. Hands through heart center. Toe heel the feet together. We're going to warm up through our lunge salutations. Inhale, lift. Exhale and fold. Hands to shins, half lift. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step right foot back. Right knee down, arms reach up, inhale. Adjust as you need to find your low lunge so it's not dropping into your low back. Kind of squeeze the legs in, then lift out of your pelvis, extend through the arms. Exhale, plant your hands to frame the foot, tuck the toes, step high plank position. Shift forward. First one will come to the floor, so you can either bring knees down or lower through chaturanga, but elbows in, like our turbo dog, squeezing all the way down. Release. Find a baby cobra. So you're hovering and just seeing how the back's feeling. Now you might stay here or hover your hands, hover your feet, maybe extend the arms back, and find length through your neck. Locust pose. Release, hands under shoulders, tuck your toes. Maybe child's pose using your knees to come up, or if you can, press down, high plank, downward facing dog. Settle the breath in your down dog. And then right leg rises, inhale. Gaze forward, step your right foot in between the hands. Back knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach up. So our low lunge, squeeze in, hug the inner thighs like you're drawing your feet together, lifting up from the pelvis and extend through your fingers. Exhale, plant the hands, tuck the back toes, lift up, and step, top of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, ground down through your feet, find that activation once again into the legs. Maybe your gaze lifts and maybe there's a space to arch back. Hands through heart center. Feet are together. Inhale, reach left side. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Hands can come to shins. Bend the knees, plant the hands. Left foot steps back. Left knee down. Arms reach up. So you'll be on that same side. Low lunge, extend. Reach and lift. Maybe expand the arms. Exhale, plant the hands, tuck the toes, step it into high plank once again. So your option as you move through your vinyasa, maybe you come forward with the knees and down to the ground for baby cobra or chaturanga dandasana. Holding off the floor and then change onto the tops of the feet, lift the chest, activate your legs wherever you are though. And then tuck the toes, downward facing dog. So it's just mindful of how much back extension you take to where it feels comfortable. Easing into that. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, stepping it through. Back knee comes down. Arms reach up. Open out, expand across the chest. Exhale, plant your hands. Tuck the back toes, lift up, and step top of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, grounding down. Palms together, lift the chest. Hands through heart center. Voila. Let's take feet more to hip distance apart. If you prefer your chair pose with feet together, that's fine. I like it here. Bring your hands down into the outer edges of your knees. So you're squeezing here. And now pressing the knees into your hands, hands into your feet. So in that engagement where the knees aren't actually moving, but you feel everything fire up. Now bring your hands, keeping that engagement to the inside of your knees and do the same thing. Press your hands in and then press your knees towards your hands. Find that meeting of pressure and keep that engagement, both sides. Find the balance between, reach your arms at Utkatasana. Beautiful, maybe sink back a little more. And exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, hands to shins, nice and long, neck long. Bend the knees, plant your hands, step into high plank. Your option, either straight into downward facing dog or shift forward, press the floor away, chaturanga, elbows in. Inhale, activate the legs. You dictate how much back extension you take here, lengthen the collarbones, and then downward facing dog. Yes, full deep breath. Inhale for your right leg to rise. Open into scorpion dog, stacking the hips. Reaching that knee up. And then keep the knee bent, draw it underneath and take it over towards your left elbow or in that general direction. Give me a little tap. Inhale, up and back. This time take right knee to right elbow, draw it forward. Squeezing in, little tap. Inhale, up and back. Gaze forward, step your right foot in between the hands. Come up onto your fingertips, gaze back, drop the back heel down. Now adjust for your warrior one, you might want to narrow a stance. You might want to walk your right foot out more towards the right and squeezing through the inner legs and lift up. And the reason you may want that is just so you feel the action of your hips moving forward a little more. It's not a matter of forcing them, but just opening out. Maybe your arms expand wider so you can open across the chest. And maybe your gaze lifts, lengthening. Beautiful. As you exhale, float the hands down, fingertips to the floor. So you may want your blocks here. You're going to bring them into the sides. Don't have any, don't worry about it. Toe heel that right foot in slightly, and then step your back foot in a little more. Start to straighten your right leg. So we're going to find our pyramid pose here. Again, having it as high as you like, so you can really keep the legs active. A drawing back of this right hip, lengthen forward, and then maybe you tip, and maybe you try out the hands just to feel the activity engagement through your legs. Okay, lifting up to a space where it feels comfortable in your back, grounding down through both feet, lifting the arches of both feet. Starting to work into those hamstrings, enjoying the opening and strengthening at the same time. One more breath here. And take a halfway lift. Nice little bend to your front knee. Place your blocks off to the side. Bring your fingertips down once again. Step your left foot back. Keep the back heel drop down. Now start to walk yourself, so you stay low, towards the left foot. Turn your left foot out slightly. Rise onto your right heel and see if you can sink into Skandasana. Yes. Lower to the hips. Maybe you keep your hands on the ground to support if you're not going as far, or you can bring your arms together. Maybe like me, have your heel off the ground. It's fine. Lift. And then fingertips come down. Start to gaze forward. And keep yourself low. Spin back towards the front of the mat. Plant your hands. Step back. Either move through your vinyasa or take it straight into downward facing dog. Once you get to your down dog, just settling your breath for a moment. Always remembering as we're moving through these different transitions to bring the awareness back to the breath, back to the central channel, that's where you're moving from with a sense of awareness. Left leg rises, inhale. Bending the knee, find scorpion dog, so you can open the hips. And then keep this knee bent, draw it underneath the body, take it towards the right elbow. So cinching and see if you can find a little tap. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, left knee towards the left elbow, cinch it in. Feel a little tap. Inhale, up and back. Gazing forward, step it through. You help your knee, rise onto the fingertips. Set this back foot for warrior one first, so drop the heel down, press into the blade edge of the foot. Hug the inner thighs, adjust that foot as you need to. Especially if you already know your alignment of warrior one. Playing with where the foot is, find a comfortable space, or the balance between your comfortable position and the integrity in the body. So grounding down through the blade edge of that back foot, lift. And then exhale, fingertips come down. So we're going to move into our pyramid from here. Stepping in with your back foot so you narrow the stance. Bring your blocks in, not already there. Lengthening up, so you're lengthening this left leg, and then activate the leg. So you start a little bit higher to draw the belly in. The action is squaring your hips, but think more about lifting from the floor up to activate both legs. And then you might tip forward and you might play with that balancing. No hands to keep the legs active, especially if you know that you're quite flexible and you fall into the passive edges of this pose. Keeping hands off the floor will then make your legs have to work a little bit harder. Just 3 full breaths here. Halfway lift, coming up. Take the blocks out of the way. Bend the front knee once again, fingertips down. Step your right foot back. Start to walk your fingertips back and let your right toes turn. So now your right foot will turn out as you come onto the heel of your left foot. Sink in. Maybe your hands stay down or you bring your palms together. Skandasana for a moment. You can really lift the chest, lean out and activate that left leg. Take a nice full breath here. And then palms come to the floor. Keep yourself low as you walk forward. Plant the hands and move through your either vinyasa or maybe straight into your downward facing dog. Or child's pose if you would prefer. Take a moment in your down dog to settle your breath. And then rising onto the toes. Look forward, you can step, walk, maybe a little hop. Top of your mat. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, rise. Curling all the way up. Palms together. Hands through heart center. Utkatasana once again. Feet hip distance or together, sink down. Reach the arms. Try and find that same activity with the legs. So it's like you're pulling your legs apart but squeezing them back in, and yet the knees and the ankles don't move. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Bend your knees, plant your hands, take it back through your vinyasa. Again, that option might just be straight into downward facing dog, where we will all meet. And then right leg rises, reaching out. Find your scorpion dog once again. And your option this time, if you'd like to, you can bring it over into wild thing. Try and take wild thing in slow motion. So you might start to rise onto the right fingertips as you roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Squeeze this leg until your hamstring engages. Toes come down and then start to peel yourself open. Just if you're getting a full body yes and you want to take it there. And then gaze down, exhale, come back over. Plant your right hand, reaching that right leg high. Draw your right knee across towards your left elbow once again, and then extending it out underneath you for our fallen pyramid. So option one is to stay right here, both hands down, or I like to step my right hand forward slightly, roll to the inner edge of the left foot, and open out. And maybe even if you're feeling amazing, float this foot, the right foot that is. Gaze down, sweep it through. Three-legged down dog. Gazing in between your hands, step the foot through. Up onto your fingertips, stay on the back toes. Squeeze those legs in, try and find that activity through your back heel, and then lift them all the way up. If you open up the arms once again, draw belly in and sink a little deeper. And then hands come behind you, interlace the fingers. Lifting the chest, lengthening your collarbones. Now option, we're going to transition into warrior three. So you can come all the way forward from here, or if you need to, bring your hands down and use the blocks. But otherwise, lift, shift forward. Maybe you drag the back toe or step halfway. Here you might let go of your hands or come all the way forward. Take a moment in your warrior three. Think about squaring the hips as much as you can, pressing out through your back heel, trying to lift that back leg. Grounding down like you're creating, or you're sending roots down through your right foot into the earth. Yeah, to feel super grounded. Beautiful. Then release your hands here if you haven't already done it. Bend through your right knee, ground through that foot, come all the way up. Draw your knee in, extend your arms, lift your chest. Holding the leg here, you might like to extend it out in front. 3, 2, 1. And as you bend, we're going to come back. Arms reach back like nothing happened. Stepping as slow as you can. Really work on this transition. Placing the back toes down. Crescent lunge, lift. Lift out through your pelvis so you've got space as you drop the back heel and open into warrior two. And be mindful with that transition if you need a little more adjusting, and it feels okay through your pelvis. Sink into this front knee. Try and make sure that the knee doesn't go beyond the ankle, or just to where it's comfortable. Pressing out through that back heel, lengthen through your fingers. Turn the front palm and reverse your warrior back. And then find this lengthening through the right side of the body. Gazing forward, exhale, windmill your hands, frame your foot. Your option is you take it through your vinyasa, maybe three-legged, maybe you're sliding this right foot back, lifting up and playing with little hops here. We're just working through the downward facing dog, and you may even like a moment in child's pose if you want to rest with the hands. Wherever you are, in between sides, come back to that feeling of your own breath in your body, your center line, or the central channel which can easily connect to your spinal cord, really. And then we'll take it to the left side. Inhale, left leg rises. Opening out, scorpion dog. Either staying here or like you're moving in slow motion. Rise up on the toes, shift forward slightly, and then curling over, squeeze this left heel in so you get that beautiful engagement through the back of the leg, and then opening up. Expand this front line of the body. Gazing down, draw your left hand down as you come back with control. Left leg reaches high toward our fallen pyramid. So left knee towards the right elbow, cross it underneath. Extending it out. Again, you can stay with your hands down or reach this right arm. Maybe you float your left leg off the floor. Gaze down, sweep it back. Three-legged down dog. As you look forward, step the foot through. Come up onto your fingertips, stay on the back toes, hug the inner thighs, and lift up. Crescent lunge, feel a squeezing in but a pulling apart. Similar action to what we've been doing before. Hands come behind, interlace your fingers. Try and take that opposite interlace so other pinkies on top. And then your transition to warrior three as you come forward, maybe hands down or just start to slide. You might lift. And think about squaring those hips. If you need to release your hands, go for it. But like you've got roots coming down through your feet, going all the way through. One more breath. Release your hands, ground down through your left foot, little bend. Come up to stand on that left foot, arms extend up overhead. Draw the knee in towards the chest. Maybe you reach it out, holding here for 3, 2, 1, and then we sweep back. So now think about how slowly you can make this transition. And it might not happen today, but staying with a nice little bend, hover, round those toes, and then lift up like you're lifting out of your pelvis to create space to then move this next plane and roll over into your warrior two pose. Grounding down through both feet. Feel that same thing of pulling your feet towards each other and then pulling them apart and find your center point of engagement. Turn the front palm, reverse your warrior back. Beautiful, gaze forward, windmill the hands down, frame the foot, rise onto your back toes. And again, if you took your little hops, you'll be going from here. Otherwise, down dog, Vinyasa, anything you're adding in. And this time we'll meet in a child's pose, sinking down with your arms out long, just like we started. Beautiful. And then from your child's pose, lift up so you're on your knees. Move your knees back, bring your arms a little wider than you normally would, and melt into your melting heart, anahata pose. So maybe that your forehead comes to the floor, maybe your chin, your chest, but reach for those arms, keeping them straight. Draw your belly in, extend your hips high. Just finding a little more space across the shoulders. Inhale, come up from there. Beautiful. Spread your fingers and rise into your downward facing dog. Voila, reach your right leg high. Step your right foot in between the hands. And then let your back knee come down. Take your right hand to the inside edge of your right foot. Toe heel this foot off to the side. Find your lizard lunge. You can release the back toes, lift and lengthen. Maybe you're here. Maybe you come onto your forearms, which may mean you're using blocks, okay? Better to use the blocks rather than just being into the wrists, a little bit more relaxing. You want to be totally relaxed, it's a pretty active pose. But opening through the hips, sinking down, and just 3 full breaths here. Thinking about this line, front of the hip flexor, hips eyes. So we're going to bring it up into dancer pose. Beautiful, and then lifting out of here. Use your blocks, sliding them to the side. And then toe heeling your right foot back into center. Framing the foot so you're on your fingertips. Tuck your back toes, lift up. Re-engage the legs, and then lift, crescent lunge. Beautiful. So your option coming into warrior 3, you may just have your arms alongside you. You may interlace the fingers or bring your hands forward. But start to shift forward, draw your belly in, and maybe you glide on up, warrior 3 pose. And then bend this knee, come all the way up to standing once again. This time draw the knee in, interlace your fingers, lift a little higher. Lift your chest, hold it here, and make sure you feel the balance down through your right foot. If it's not quite there, you might just stay here today. Otherwise, release this left knee, bring knees together. Take your left hand, bring it together and catch hold of the inside edge of your left foot. Index and thumb come together on your right hand, reach the arm. Again, if you're wobbly, you might just stay right here. Otherwise, start to press your foot into your hand into your foot. Thinking of tipping forward, extend through your front fingertips. Maybe a little lean, maybe a little bit more. Watch this hip, you can see mine doesn't, it wants to open out. I think more about squeezing into that center line, extending through your top hand, crown of the head, opening out and playing with the balance. One more breath. Inhale all the way up, and then just releasing your left foot beside you. Bring your arms down beside you for a moment, stand in Tadasana, maybe you give your legs a little shake, or close down your eyes. Beautiful, opening the eyes, ground through your right foot. This time you're going to take your left ankle onto your right knee, palms together, and then sink back like you're coming into a chair pose. And finding the place that you can hold and maintain, maybe you can fold all the way forward. Maybe you even catch hold of your foot, just give yourself a little hip release. And for 3, 2, and 1. Start to lift yourself out. Smooth transition like we did before. Arms can go back. Think about that transition. Be mindful of how you're squeezing in. Plant the toes, reach up, crescent lunge. And exhale your transition. Frame your foot either downward facing dog or maybe through your vinyasa. Mindful how you feel, where you want to take it. Maybe a handstand. Beautiful. Again, find that connection in with your breath. Really use your breath to initiate the movements and to kind of guide the balance and stability here. Left leg rises, inhale. Gaze forward, step that left foot in between the hands. Back knee comes down. We start with our lizard lunge. You can release the back toes. Left hand in, toe heel the foot out to the side. Lift and lengthen your chest. And then either with your blocks or maybe straight down, wherever you can go. Spend a few breaths here. Helps us when we come into our kind of back bending, or especially our standing dancer, to create a little more space through the hips. And then easing back up onto your hands, toe heel that foot in. Come onto the fingertips. Come up onto your back toes. And reset, so reactivate by hugging into the center. Lift for your crescent lunge. Find that activation, and your option with the arms, but start to shift forward. Maybe your hands come to the floor. Maybe you step halfway, and then all the way over into your warrior three. Bend that knee, come all the way up to stand. This time draw the knee in, interlace your fingers, lift the chest. And again, you can stay here, or we prepare for our dancer. So right knee comes in towards the left. Bring your right hand together, catch the inside edge of the foot. You see if you can. Index and thumb together, extending up. You may stay here, or start to press your foot into your hand, hand into your foot. Feel that joint reaction, and then allow yourself to maybe tip forward, grounding down through that left foot. Trying to find that nice, again, root through the foot into the earth. Beautiful work. 2 more breaths. Wobbles, just let yourself fall out and come back in. It's a pretty challenging pose to maintain, to be fair. And then easing all the way up. Getting that controlled release. Right foot comes down, find your stance for a moment, and just let that settle. Settle your breath, ground down through your feet. And then we'll take it left side, so ground through your left foot. Right ankle comes onto left knee, palms together. Sink down, this variation of chair with a nice little hip stretch. Draw your belly in, sink as far as you do on the other side to where it feels comfortable. Keep energizing and lengthening through the crown of the head though. Beautiful. Inhale, reach. And your transition, so as the arms come back, extend your leg. Like warrior three, maybe for a moment. As you bend, start to lower, like your toes. Crescent lunge, lifting up. And exhale, plant the hands. Maybe you take it through one final vinyasa, just meeting in your downward facing dog. And then once you get to your down dog, either just dropping the knees, or you can take a hop through if that's in your practice. Maybe you cross the ankles or roll the feet out to the side. Come all the way over. Feet down, arms alongside you, and we lower onto your back. Reel yourself in. And actually, if you've got a block, let's use a block. It's not 100% necessary. But taking the block, take it on the wider setting, your medium setting like that side. Bring it in between the thighs. Ground down through your feet, palms beside you. And just for a moment, start to feel this articulation through your pelvis. So where you're pressing the lower back down and then lifting up and finding that arch. And a few rounds of tilting forward and back. Feel that action, then squeeze your block with your legs. Press down through your palms, press the lower back into the floor, and then start to lift your hips up. Bridge pose here. If you have extra space, interlace your fingers, walk those shoulders in underneath, find yourself a little more height. If you can, hold this for 3 full breaths here. And after your third exhalation, making your way back down. Either keeping the block for another round, or you can release the block. And your option, coming into your bridge pose again, or if you would prefer, full Urdhva arms reaching overhead, hands turning in. If that's in your practice, you know where you're going, you feel warm enough, go with it. On your breath, try and lift on the inhale, and really press through your legs, feel that strength coming from the center as you lift. Work on extending the arms towards straight. You can always rise onto the toes to find more space. If you can lift up through the hips, it can sometimes take the jamming out of the lower back. Again, 3 to 5 breaths at the top, however long you feel like you can stay here for, and actually maintain a connection to the integrity of your shape. and your breath. Once you're down, take a moment just to press the back into the floor. You close your eyes. Enjoy the delightfulness of back bending. And then let your feet come out as wide as your mat, your arms beside you, where it's comfortable, and just rock your knees from side to side. So try and avoid maybe kind of hug your knees in straight away after back bends. This is a nicer way to ease it out. And any final movement you'd like here, maybe a happy baby, a spinal twist, or a gentle drawing in at the knees. If you're ready for Shavasana, feel free. And as you make your way into your Shavasana, making sure you're warm, think about taking up space. So roll your shoulders back, leave your arms away from the body. Have your legs out wide, and it just helps to release through the hips and the lower back. And in our Shavasana, we're using this time to practice relaxation. For a lot of us, it's not something that comes naturally. So you're taking time to practice what it feels like to relax. Find a sense of internal and external stillness and quiet. Let your breath go. Shavasana. And gently bring your awareness back to your breath. Just noticing the rise and fall of your breath. And then deepening your breath. Invite little movements into your fingers and toes. Slowly stretching out the arms, the legs. Taking any movement that feels good. Maybe you bend your knees and roll to one side. And just as you're ready, we'll meet in a seated position to close our practice together. A nice long spine, hands come to heart center. Close with a single breath, inhaling through the nose. And exhale out the mouth. Thank you for joining me this morning. Beautiful day. And namaste.
Namaste.